This
My screen.
conference will now be recorded.
I hope you all can see my screen now.
Yes, Ron.
Okay. So yesterday we started discussion on wave management. We spoke about waves, how the important master data in waves are maintained, the wave template and determination of wave. In wave template, we have three important indicators: wave type, wave category, and time attributes. So we could see in the time attributes how based on the different goods issue time, we can determine the several wave back start and wave completion time. Basically, how we can determine a wave option, template option based on the goods issue time. Then we created several outbound deliveries and we tested whether the right wave options were determined. So the important point we understood was, we should never be too early, not too late while determining the right wave template option. We also spoke about the batch managed material and we also spoke about the um, what was the other topic? About the exception codes. Okay, so today we'll continue our discussion and we'll see. I think we may not be able to cover advanced production integration. I don't want to leave it halfway, so we would be, starting the next topic, which is yard management. Okay, so we should be able to complete yard management in today's session. But yeah, for production, I think let's do it. Production integration outbound. We'll park it and cover it in our next session. Okay. So before we jump into yard management, any question or any queries anybody would like to discuss? Okay. No questions. Then we'll proceed. Okay. So what is yard? Yard is a space, outside the warehouse, basically where all your trucks are parked. Okay. With the EWM growing, it was needed to also manage this space in in the system because the stock in these areas sometimes they are kept for a longer time, and also it will give you the information about what stock is in that area, whether it's received in the yard, it's there in the yard, and if you want you can expedite those receiving process for those deliveries. Okay, especially for the urgent parts. So especially in some automobile companies, the material is kept into the yard for quite some time. Okay, so um, for understanding yard, we need to basically understand what is basically for yard management. For using yard management, we need to understand another SAP like object, like a delivery. We call it as transportation unit and vehicles. We'll understand why they are used. But before we jump into the technical aspect or the SAP aspect, let's try to understand the basic three structure elements of yard. So yard comprises of a checkpoint. So generally there are two checkpoints, one which from where the vehicles are coming in, the other from where the vehicles are going out. Then we have parking spaces. They are the we let's say a truck comes and it's checked in. So for our warehouse we would now create a truck, and then that truck will check in at the gate. A truck will have handling units and the delivery assigned to it. Let's say inbound, okay? So it will come in from the check-in, okay? And after the truck comes in from the check-in, we would either place it into the parking space or I would, put them into or I will park them onto a door and then I would unload the stock in the staging area. Once the vehicle is empty, it can then be checked out. Okay, or oops, sorry, or sorry about that. Or it can be checked out, or we can also get empty trucks coming in. You can also get empty trucks coming in from here, and then they can be parked into the parking space, or they can directly go to the door. Okay, they load the parts into the truck, and truck will go to the checkpoint. Okay, so basically there can be several combination between checkpoint and checkout. It may or may not go to parking. It may go to inbound door, outbound door. So door is very important. That's where the product, the pallets, the products are loaded and loaded. Okay, so the activity that we perform at the door is loading or unloading, in outbound loading, inbound unloading. So it's important to understand the doors and the parking spaces, also checkpoint. But everything, the most important of all of these three is the door. Okay, so basically what we say is the yard management uses the warehouse. Yard management uses the warehouse, you know, structure elements. Yeah. So basically, the if you see, yeah, this checkpoint is nothing but a section. Okay, parking space is nothing but a storage section. Doors are nothing but storage section. Yard is nothing but a storage type. So basically, yard is extension. We say yard, which may look like a different entity in the system, but when we are configuring it, it's using EWM structure elements like storage type. Yard is a storage type. Checkpoints are storage section, and then there are bins in this parking space. So yard management, from the name itself, it looks like it may be a different module or something, but it's a natural extension of EWM, into the space outside the warehouse, so that you can apply. It is easier for it was easier for SAP to apply the same structure elements, for the yard important elements. Yeah. So when we talk about yard, we in our warehouse we have created storage staging area, inbound staging, outbound staging area, and we have created several bins in those areas. Okay, then we have also created door storage type, and we have for inbound and outbound we have created door bins. Okay, so this we have already done when we were discussing the EWM structure element. Okay, now we would also create a storage type called yard. In that yard we'll create sections for checkpoint, sections for outbound checkpoint, sections for parking, sections for inbound outbound parking, and then we will create the parking bins, the checkpoint bins. Okay, so wherever the truck is, you can imagine truck is something like a handling unit. So handling unit contains products. Handling unit can also contain another handling unit. So when this truck is coming, it's basically, in the background, it has a structure like a handling unit, which has all the other delivery products and pallets into it. And then, like how a handling unit moves, this truck moves similar to a handling unit from one bin to another. Okay, so basically um, this handling unit is basically the transportation unit, we call it. Yeah, I'm not. You shouldn't be saying exactly handling unit, but I'm just giving you a correlation to the warehouse object, which is a handling unit. So this transportation unit then represents the truck or trailer, and then it moves into the yard. The most important aspect of yard is the doors. So we create a door section, and we create bins into that section, and then we also create door section for the outbound, and we create bins. So basically we are creating storage type section bins in the yard also. Okay. Then yeah, this is a storage type. Then there are one thing you may see here is you will notice here that door bins are also created in yard. Door bins are also created in warehouse. So this to the left of this is a warehouse. So door bins are created on both the sides. Yeah. So why it is required? It is required because door connects. We say door connects the warehouse to the yard. So door, if you remember, we in initial sessions we created doors, three doors in inbound, three doors in outbound. Now we will be assigning door to the warehouse bin. Obviously, because when we are saying the product should go to when we are planning, we are saying the product should go to so and so doors. So we are assigning them the warehouse bins. Okay. Then um, we should also assign them to the yard bins. Okay. Why door is assigned to yard bin? Because when we go to the yard area, we want to see which door the truck is. So here the truck comes into this door. If you see the information, you will see that the truck or the TU. If you see in this warehouse side, you will see that it's on this door, it's door bin. And if you see from a warehouse yard perspective, you will see it is in yard bin. So whenever you are moving the truck in the yard, you will see this bin. Whenever you are loading the pallets onto a truck, you will see this bin. So basically, whenever you're going to talk about doors from a yard perspective, you will see yard bin, and whenever you're going to talk or execute any transaction for the door from a warehouse perspective, you'll use this bin. So technically, that is the way SAP has connected warehouse to a yard by using doors. And don't get confused; these are same bin. Physically, they are the same bin, but we create technically in system we create two bins. So for example, just imagine that this is the if you have seen the door. Okay. uh, just let's just visually connect this, because it's not easy that we have two bins for the same place in a warehouse. But if you imagine this, so this door, um, if you see this door from outside the warehouse, there will be a different barcode for this. Okay. And inside the warehouse, okay, let's say this is inside, there will be a different barcode for this. Okay. So the people who are working inside the warehouse, they'll use that barcode for loading the pallets. The people who are moving the truck outside the warehouse, they'll use a different bin number for the same door, and manage the product, manage the truck outside the warehouse. Okay. So the truck, they come with their back facing this door, and the products are unloaded in the staging area. In our initial session, we did see that video clip where we saw the products are getting unloaded and they are, getting into the staging area. Correct. So now what we need to do is create the we need to create the bins, and also the structure elements, the sections, and then make the necessary assignments. Okay. So before we go ahead, are we clear? And then we will create a TU, and then we'll execute the process. TU is like a truck. While I'm creating that, I'll explain you some important aspect of TU, transportation unit. But in terms of yard management, are we all clear on this now?
Yes, Ron.
Yes, Ron.
So Q, let me connect to system and let's try creating these storage bins. So in standard system we will not have a storage type for yard. We have now. So let me copy from another warehouse. Yard. Okay. So the important thing is here the storage type role is G, which is yard. So we have created the storage type. Now let me create these sections and bins. Okay. First we'll complete all the bins from the yard perspective. Okay, let me give it access. Inbound. Checkpoint out. Those area inbound and now those area outbound. Parking space inbound. Save it. Okay, so now let us create the bins. So storage type is yard. Section is CHKI. Yeah. So then I'll just create one parking bin. Yeah. because you can create as many parking bins. Parking bins are, like your vehicle markings that you can see everywhere, but they will have, wherever you can see, your vehicle parking. Similarly, you'll have truck parkings here, but they'll have barcodes here, so that when the truck goes there, the person can scan that, the truck is there in that particular area. So we know exactly which location the product, the vehicle is. Okay. So just for testing, so let's say we create a, yeah. So but we will create three bins for the door because we have three doors in the yard. Three doors on the warehouse side. So this type is DORI. Yeah. Oh, storage type is yard. Storage section is DORI. Okay. Say this. To yard. Yeah. Yard door bin 3. Okay. Bin door OT1. So now this is outbound doors. Okay. So just give me 1 minute. Okay. So now it's time to create. Okay, we don't know about the. I think we might have created the staging bins. Let us quickly validate. So we are doing the this side now, the warehouse side now. So here, let me check if I have created the bins and staging area bins for myself. 3 plus 3 6. No, we haven't created. So let me create this staging area and door bins. Okay. So. I remember we did speak about creating staging bins, three bins. I think we didn't create it initially. So now we are kind of setting up our shipping related data. There's no staging area, or yeah, we did create some staging area. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Mm, So we created a separate staging area for each bin. That means a separate staging storage section for each bin. Okay, this is my second staging area bin. Then I'm going to create a third one. This is third staging area bin for the outbound. So okay, that's done. Save it. Now it's time to create the door bins. I'm sure we have not created staging area. We might have not created door bins. Door underscore in1. This is in the warehouse side. So storage type is 9030. I don't think we need a section here. 2 9030. Save. Door bin 3 9030. Save. Okay. Now door OT1 outbound 1 9040. Okay. Save. Door OT2 0. Save. 3. Save. Okay. So important point to note here is always whenever we create uh, storage bins, we do sorting. Yeah. So I never forget doing sorting because the implications are too many. We miss sorting. Okay, then we spoke. Do we need to create activity areas for the yard? Let us see. If it's required or not. We don't need activity area. Okay. So create a storage type section bins. I think now we are in good position to test the yard. Okay. Now we need to also do some settings. Yeah, it's not yet done. So we created these elements. Now we need to assign the door to the bins, isn't it? That setting is missing. So let us do that. Yeah, there are some settings on the warehousing. Some settings on the ECC side, some setting on the SPRO side for yard management. Let us quickly go through them and maintain the one which we need for executing our process. So assign door to yard bin first. Mhm. QI, these details are blank. Just thinking it should have at least proposed as something. Assign door to the yard bin. Let me check with the doors, yeah. Define doors. Yes, we have good doors here. Just why they are not appearing here. Okay, yeah, I think they are appearing here. So this is standard doors which have come up because we copied the warehouse. So these are our doors and let us assign them to the warehouse bin first. Okay, this is so door to the warehouse bin assignment. Then I'll go to the yard bin assignment. Okay. Okay, let's save this. Then let's go to the assignment of door to the yard bin. But why they are not appearing here? Yard door, yard warehouse. Okay, maybe we need to do some configuration here first. So we go to cross process setting, shipping and receiving, yard management, activity yard management for warehouse. So warehouse is WH35. We go and activate yard management first. Okay, then let me go in again into this. Now you can see all the drawers coming up here. And now I'm going to assign them to the yard bin. Okay. Hmm, So I need to say the yard is which warehouse? This is WH35. Okay. Okay. So I've done this assignment. So there'll be some more settings here. Let's go and maintain. There is another setting is like, you know, for the checkpoint, we need to assign a bin. So checkpoint, check-in, inbound or checkpoint of outbound, we need to assign a bin. But before that, let's come and make some general settings here. Hmm, Let me see. I haven't deactivated shipping and receiving for the warehouse. No. Then okay, I'm not going to touch this. I need to maintain the yard management related setting. So this is one place, and it should also be in. So it should be here in master data. I'm at the wrong place. Shipping and receiving, yard management, define checkpoints. Yeah. So here the storage sections we created, we were telling the system that these are the checkpoints. Yeah, WH35. CHKI S35 CHKO point outbound. Okay, and then in this setting we just go and say, now I think it should appear here for the, come on, I need to come out of this. One clue here, you will always see the structure elements supported by system. So if you don't see them, means some config is missing. So you can see now checkpoint is coming. So here you can see the checkpoint is inbound. Checkpoint is inbound. And the process type, which process type we use for moving the stock in the yard from the checkpoint, I'll say Y999. So we don't have to always give that manually. Okay, so this is saved. So let's now try to execute the process. I think we have done all the settings. So now let me, so this yard can be for inbound and outbound. So today let me execute the process, let's say for outbound. Okay, and we will execute, since we are in discussion of outbound, let's focus on outbound today, and we will also execute yard for inbound. So this is not the end. We will be creating a lot of trucks and moving them to the doors, unloading, loading the stocks. So for learning yard management, we let us go through outbound. So this is the entire configuration or setup for yard is done. So if you correlate what we have done so far, we have created a basic inbound, basic outbound. Now we are slowly activating complex functionalities. The first one we have activated, now we are activating is yard for our inbound and outbound. Then slowly we'll activate some more settings, more functionalities like creation rule, storage control, um, labor management, MFS, and so on. Okay, but let us focus here to uh, to make sure that a yard process setup is complete by executing one yard scenario. Okay, so I'm going to consider outbound. That doesn't mean we don't use yard for inbound. We'll also use it at some point. And basically we'll get an empty truck loaded and then goods issued. So this setup is done. So henceforward whatever inbounds and outbounds we are going to execute, we'll do them with yard management. We'll get the trucks, we'll get them to the door, we'll load them, unload them, and so on. Okay, so now let me first create an outbound delivery. Okay, just observe these steps. These are very simple integrated steps, but even if you are not able to correlate them, then you still have the documents, you can go through them, or we will again go through the steps at inbound, in storage control, whenever we executing future scenarios, VAS, getting whatever, we will come back to this. We will every time create these yard steps. We'll create a TU, we'll move it to the door, and we will unload, load, whatever. Okay, now let me create a delivery. Okay, outbound delivery. Let's do the yard. Let me say I want to pick one pallet, quantity 4 pieces. Thousand is our location. For finished goods, warehouse location of finished goods. Let us now get check this delivery in EWM. Okay. So now we get this delivery created. We know now we have to do the picking, and now picking. How we are going to do the picking? How we are going to create a picking task now? Through waves, right? So again, for our basic outbound, we activated waves. Henceforward, we'll use waves to create the task. Correct. So now wave will get released, task will get created, and we know we are going to goods issue after that. After confirming on RF, we'll goods issue. But let's say parallelly, this is warehouse processing happening. Parallelly, this delivery goes to the transportation team, either internal transportation team, which is transportation management module, or it may go to another, non-SAP transportation team where they are planning trucks for this. So there is always a department company called transportation and shipping. Their role is, okay, this is a truck. Okay, now I need to arrange a this is the delivery. Now I need to arrange a truck for this. Sometimes multiple deliveries will be grouped into a truck, or it can all, it is a big material, so you can split that into multiple trucks also, and you can have separate delivery time as well. So so here our role is to identify our aim is to identify, uh, where to get this, where to pick this, from where to get this shaped. So basically this goes to a transportation team. Now this delivery, they're checking, they have spoken to several, service providers who can pick the material and deliver it to the customer location. So now some carrier has agreed, and he said, okay, I'm sending you the truck. So parallel to you doing picking in the warehouse, there is also a truck assignment, and a truck process getting initiated. So now by the time you're picking, getting to the staging area, let's say a truck is supposed to come at 2 o'clock. Your first thing is, now it's 12. We will now start picking. We'll pick the material, put that into the staging area, and then that we load from the staging area onto the truck. Okay. So so let me complete the picking. Let's say from warehouse side we are ready, and then we will demonstrate the steps of how the truck has come. Okay. So but before we go for warehouse picking, just understand, how it would happen in a business. This truck goes there. There are two aspects. One is the truck creation, planning of truck. Okay, that this truck is going to come on so and so date and time. See, basically, I'll tell, my service provider that send me this. But just if 2 o'clock they have to pick the material from my warehouse, it's 12:30 now. So if 2 o'clock they have to pick, at around 12 they'll say, hey, this truck is going to come. Like how we guys order Uber, we don't we get the confirmation and the truck details, right? Sorry, the car details, right? Similarly, we'll get the truck details at a very early stage, but the truck may come at a later stage. So whenever we get the truck detail, the license plate number, what time it is going to come, so we may say delivery is created 1 week in advance. In this 1 week, we are finalizing the transportation, and we may get the truck information one day ago, okay, or few hours ago. So as soon as the truck information is received, either through IDOC or through integrating with the transportation management, this truck will be created. As of now, we are creating it manually. So what we are saying here, now the planning is done, okay, and the truck has to be created. So I'll create the truck here. Means of transport. So when you create a truck, you need to give means of transport, whether it's a truck, it's a rail, or it's sea. So it's a truck for us. And our packaging material is.
Rohan, one small thing. Hello.
Mhm.
This TU creation through, like you are saying, through iDocs. So this is not our headache, right? Indians, like,
Hmm.
or this we have to configure.
So, say, see, this is inbound IDOC, right? So if you
Mm-hmm.
get it from another system, they give you that IDOC. It's our headache, right? We have to do the like when you get an incoming IDOC, we need to do the partner profile setup, right? Assign the function module there. So it will be our area, to set up this IDOC interface with the transportation team. Or if you have a separate shipping team, they will take care of it. But if you don't have shipping team in your project, then you may have to do it because it is
Okay.
creating your
So
object.
can
Generally in SAP, if a purchase order has to be created or a sale has to be created, so which
mm-hmm.
SAP object gets created, that teams owns that object. So
Okay. Okay.
obviously it will be integration with the shipping transportation team, but they are going to create TU. Our inputs will be important if that shipping team are they know TU and all the stuff, but we need to tell them, hey, we need these fields which are mandatory. We need the license plate number, so we need the carrier information, we need the date, time, everything. Okay.
Okay. So like, do we have to configure also something? So can you show like what to configure in this?
See, the configuration is similar to what configuration you would do in a what do we say, in a any inbound IDOC message in SAP. What we need, what the integration team needs. They don't need configuration. They need which message type to be used so that IDOC can be configured. So it is coming from another system. Okay. So we need to give on, let's say this is a customer, we are getting this. So here in this system, we don't have anything. We need to give the message type which is to be used. So the standard message type for creating TU, we should be aware of that.
Hmm.
I'm assuming it will be something like this. And this message type has all the structures and all the information to create a TU. I think it is this one, I guess, or this one. So we need to give
Hmm.
this message type to them so that they can map, like the ABAP team can map the structures to the inbound IDOC. So it is nothing different to how a normal interface to SAP would be done, which we need to support with the message types.
Hmm.
So coming back to our TU, so I'm just giving the basic details. I can also give the truck details here, the carrier details here. Carrier is nothing but a business partner, BPDHL or a BP FedEx I would create. Okay, and then I would click on continue. Okay, then I would say for this TU, this is the delivery. Right. So again, one TU can have multiple deliveries. Okay, guys. So please keep in mind, don't I'm just creating it one. So don't make an assumption that one truck will always have one delivery. You can have multiple deliveries. So see, this is the amount of planning required by a transportation system. Which deliveries to pick because they are going on a particular zone in a particular route. So which deliveries to pick and to be considered. So there will be load, the volume, weight calculation, and there will be also the route information known in advance, which will help the shipping team to plan. So they do the planning and we get, okay, this is the TU, and you basically plan the shipment for this TU. Okay, so now here the planning is done, the TU is in the plan status. So let's say one day ago this planning is done, and now it's our time to it's now the warehousing may be doing their job parallelly. Okay, so this is going to come at, let's say, at uh, 2 o'clock. This TV is going to come at 2 o'clock. Till then, what we will do is we will complete our picking. Okay, and keep the stock in the staging area. So picking can also happen in parallel while your truck is getting checked in and all. I will say wave. I will release the wave here itself. Okay, so that would create an order, and I would confirm the order here itself. So warehouse order has been created. Let me confirm the order. Okay, and now we have picked the material. The material is into the staging area. Okay. Okay. Now here the TU. By the time the so we basically there will be another team which will be probably we didn't see that step. We'll see that later. There is another team. What they will do is they will come and assign the door. Okay. Okay. This is coming. So let's put it into door. Outbound door. I door two. Okay. So basically, there will be dock appointment team which will be saying, okay, this truck is going to come. Today door two is empty. You come and you park your material there, park the truck there, and load the material there. So this can also happen, or this may happen not in advance, but at the actual execution. So when the truck is there at the gate, the person will call the person at the door, hey, which door is empty? That time they will give the door information. Okay. So sometimes doors are planned well in advance, or doors are planned during the runtime, based on the availability. So now why doors can be planned in advance? Because see, your doors are limited in a high volume warehouse. In a I would say uh, in a high volume automobile warehouse, they receive up to 500 trucks a day, and doors may be just 8 or 10. So you can imagine, and each truck would take 15-20 minutes to load and load. So you can imagine, if even there is some planning mismatch, that may result into so much, you know um, that may result into so much backlog for them, or may delay the trucks, and then it may impact their uh, you know um, contract um, with the service providers, with the truck providers, and then they may, if they are dealing the truck too late, so too often, so they also have to pay penalties for that. Okay. So now here, let's say now for this warehouse we got this truck planned. Let's say the truck, and we assigned a delivery. Let's say the truck has come. So the gatehouse person will go and say arrival plus save. Okay. So just make a note here. The status has changed to active. So now in my documents and in books also, you'll see there is a separate transaction /CWM CICO to activate. Sorry, to check in the vehicle. So that I generally use the same transaction, because the same thing is executed through CICO transaction. So you can also use separate transaction SCWM CICO, means check in check out transaction. So the gate people, they use that transaction, but we use this transaction TU. Through this we can do everything. Okay. I mean, we functionals in the background, but this is this dedicated user, because this transaction may be too much difficult for a gate person to go and here and do the arrival plus save. So there is easy user interface is given, where they will enter the truck number, and then they will say arrival plus save. Okay. Now once the truck arrives, we'll move it. Again, I'm using the same TU transaction in the books, and in my slide you will see another transaction called SCWMY move. In that transaction, this screen comes up, and directly they put the truck number, and then they say where to move it. Okay. So I am not using the transaction. I'm just navigating through TU. And here you can see you can give a parking space or you can give a door and you can decide where it has to go. Okay, so here it's like a creation of a task. See, this is like a handling unit and you are moving it from one bin to another. Okay, so since this transaction is a warehouse task on the yard side, you are seeing yard bin. When you load the truck, when you load a HU on the truck, that time you will see the warehouse bin. Okay, so now here we gave the process type Y999, so you can see for the checkpoint, we gave this automatically that process type is getting proposed. I will say create plus save. Yeah, so now you can see it has now moved to the door bin. Okay, so now this is at the door. So now what has happened? The truck and the stock is in the staging area. Okay, and the truck is ready for loading. So ideally, the next logical step is to create a loading task from here to here, from the bin to the GI zone bin to the, sorry, from the staging bin to the door. So now at this point of time, it won't work because we have to do some more additional settings, which we'll introduce in the next topic. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to load, but I'll do a simple loading. I'm not going to create a task that is called a simple loading. I'll say load. Okay, but our main aim, so loading is done. Main aim would be to create a task and load on truck or load the HU onto the truck. That we'll see, later when we have configured storage control. Okay, it requires some storage control settings, which we haven't introduced yet. So now this is loaded, and then you can either load from here also, or you can load from there also, whichever, you can load from delivery or TU. Now you can see loading is completed. You can goods issue from the delivery. If you goods issue from the TU, all the corresponding HUs to that delivery will get goods issued. So you can see HUs are also assigned here for the delivery. So you can have multiple HUs here, and then now we have goods issued. Goods issued means the truck has left the door. Okay, so two important things at this point. Once it moved to the door, we did a manual loading. We call it as basic loading, where we just clicked on loading. That basic loading, what it does, it simply stores the status information. That's it when it was loaded. Okay, when the loading was completed. Loading start, loading complete, but it doesn't store information. It doesn't create a task. Like most of the time, loading means for a warehouse, it's a task. To move the stock. It's a movement happening from the warehouse to the uh, to the to the door to the TU. So going forward, please make a note of this. We will see that task. Okay. Okay. So now it's it's loaded. Now what do? We need to take it out, right? So just make a note of the status. Now I'm going to say checkpoint. Oh, sorry, move it to the checkpoint first. Yeah, I haven't used parking today because my truck has directly come and it has picked the material and it is going. So I'm saying it's now at a checkpoint. Okay, so it's at the checkpoint now, and at the checkpoint we would say departure plus save, which will change the status to completed. So this TU activity is now completed. Checked in, moved to the door, loaded, moved moved to the checkpoint, and then at the checkpoint we said it left. So check in and check out are two activities. Check in to activate and to still record in system that the truck has come. Check out is to complete the status and complete the TU. Tell the system that the process for yard has completed for this TU. Okay. So any questions, guys, on this?
No, Rohan.
Okay. Mhm. Okay. Mm. So now, I think it's a logical point to stop. So we'll stop here for today. So do practice this yard process. Okay. All these things are mentioned, and step-by screenshots are available. But I would also like to mention one thing we didn't see today is parallelly checking the yard in the warehouse monitor. So we also have you know yard TU related data TU related folder, yeah, yard management. So you can go and check what is the pins in the yard, which TU is on which door. So it helps in planning the warehouse. Okay. So as of now, we don't have anything, but which doors are occupied with which deliveries, where the TU is, all that information you can figure out from here. So do while you're executing the process, do go through these nodes as well. Go to the transportation view. We don't have, so it is only giving us all the active ones. So do look at the existing TUs. Is there a way to overcome this? We use like so here you can also um, give the status information, and also I'm not sure why it has been grayed out. We could see all the TUs. So here you can see all the TUs, what stock it has, and you can also execute some of the TU transactions from here, like printing a TU and so on. Okay, so do parallelly check the warehouse monitor as well, while you're testing yourself. Okay, we'll when we do that next for inbound, we would come and also observe here. Okay, any questions from anyone from any other topic? Anything anybody would like to discuss? I think there are no open queries. Anything anybody would like to discuss?
No,
Okay,
Rohan. No, no from my side for now.
okay, fine. So do practice yard management over the week. And so guys, please don't delay your practice because these all are connected scenarios. And next week again, we will do production, or I may just to continue the flow, I may also discuss, the creation rule and storage control, so that we continue this flow of delivery, outbound delivery, and then outbound delivery we just see how we can do loading and picking, packing. So I would see what best I can plan, just not to deviate our attention from the delivery execution to production supply and production receipt, which is very different. So I'll see what I can plan, but these topics are all integrated. So make sure whatever we have covered so far you have complete your practice, and you at least you've gone through the recording and at least run one process in this WH35 warehouse at least. Okay, so we will stop here for today if no further questions. Next week we'll come back and we will continue our further discussion on either storage control, or we'll discuss the production integration. Okay, so I'll quickly share this shipping and receiving. Okay, so yeah, this is now in the shared folder, so you can access the yard management documents. Okay then, thank you very much. Have a nice week ahead. See you all. Bye.
Thank you, Ron. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
You.
you, Ron.
Thank you. Bye.